Well, I'd like to welcome everybody back to my channel, Secrets of the Buddha Mind. It's been a while, I guess. With COVID, I've been kind of just relaxing and doing my thing. But tonight, I just felt like talking to everybody and maybe kind of encouraging everybody with a few thoughts about Buddha and the way the Buddha mind works. I guess really what I was thinking was about something my teacher said a long ago about itchy thinking. You know, the difference between our true powerful thinking and itchy thinking is what he would say. And to kind of illustrate what that means, and you'll feel it in meditation, we have stillness, which is our choice to have no thinking. And we can feel it during the day when we choose to think clearly. We can feel that this thinking or this quietness is interrupted by other types of thoughts. You know, I wonder what's on TV tonight. You know, man, that dinner was really good. You know, recurring thoughts, or maybe fears about tomorrow. You know, I'm getting the COVID vaccination tomorrow. You know, in meditation, perhaps the mind would wander to that sort of thing. So, my teacher would call this itchy thinking. It's not our primary thought goal. It's not where we what our primary thinking. It's kind of a side branch that believes all the same things that our main branch of thinking believes. But this branch is concentrating more on it like an itch in a sense. You know, it believes these things, but it's kind of moving off. The focus is moving off the main path to worry about itching something. You know, and so in a way, it's distracted energy. And when things like addictions can be an itchy kind of thinking, you know, when we're always thinking back to our addictive action, we're always thinking back, you know, that itchy thinking is what pushes us to get home faster so we can engage in that kind of conduct. So it's always pushing us, rushing us, you know. That's the impatience in us when we need to be somewhere else. It's because our itchy thinking is getting irritated. You know, it's saying, I need to have this itched, but I can't because you're in my way, right? So it's not our normal way of thinking, but when we are engaged in itchy thinking, we become much, much more impatient, much more forceful. We disregard others easier. And when something stands in the way of itching, an itch that is really bothering us, that thing can temporarily become our enemy, right? So in meditation, we run into our intent, which is to be at peace or content, and we run into itchy thinking, the desire to stop, the desire not to meditate at all is a form of itchy thinking, right? It is saying that meditation is in the way of something that requires a constant attendance, whether it be could be television watching, it could be any number of things, right? But yoga or meditation is getting in the way of us attending to that itch on a regular basis. So what do we do? Right? What do we do? We have our course of thought, our course of being. Okay, that's enough, honey. And we have itchy thinking, the course of actions that come from itchy thinking, right? Are actions that come from impatience, that comes from anger and frustration, usually by something in our path, right? Blocking us from attending to something that needs to be scratched. But just like scratching an itch feels really, really good, it is not something we would want to dedicate our life to, right? Because even though it feels good at the moment, it is feeling good in reference only to that itch, right? And it is not a reflection to how good we can feel outside of that pattern of thinking, right? Outside of that pattern of thinking where the itch no longer exists. We could define happiness as many other things, but until that itch is gone, this will be our only way of defining happiness, right? And so it really limits us when we live a life of itchy thinking. But And and many times that part of our consciousness will defend those actions because it feels good, right? But we have to remember that it only feels good in context with that itch, and that if that itch did not exist, that area would feel good anyways, right? So we're talking about habits that need to be attended to day in, day out, right? That the need to scratch that itch becomes quite laborious after a while, and it begins to affect our schedule and many, many things, right? And like an itch, the true solution, if you've ever had poison ivy or anything like that, is to stop itching it, right? If you stop itching that spot, it'll bother you. It'll make some complaint, right? But it is the act of not itching or of not following that itchy thinking that will remove that itchy thinking from our consciousness. If we continue to listen to itchy thinking and follow through with those actions, it actually creates the need for itchy thinking in the future. It's hard to say. With itchy thinking in the future, right? It's like smoking. The need to smoke the next cigarette, the cigarette comes from this cigarette. So if we didn't smoke this cigarette, the need for the cigarette will come from the last one, right? And as we get further and further away from that cigarette, the need will disappear completely. The itchy thinking will be gone completely. And then that energy will return to our main branch of thinking, right? Can you imagine a life where you got rid of all of your itchy thinking? Things like fears that you haven't really examined enough that you keep going back to. Desires that really wouldn't lead to the happiness that you thought they would. Can you imagine if you relieved all of that itchy thinking so that we were either still, calm, or planning and thinking and acting in the present, right? It is our itchy thinking that pulls us away from our present plans, right? We're on a path, but we have to stop to itch the itch, right? We're on a path, but we have to stop to attend to this need again and again and again, right? And often we turn something into nothing in that process, right? If it's an addiction, we turn money into ashes or whatever it is, right? And so it's clearly not leading in a healthy way, right? Itchy thinking, itching an itch at some point is not healthy, right? It is leaving it alone, attending to it with care, but leaving it alone so that it will heal that will cause the problem. Which means itchy thinking is a form of a wound in a sense, right? We have been wounded by something so that we must constantly attend to it. We've been wounded by something. Anyways, just a thought about itchy thinking. I don't know whether I've ever heard it expressed by any other teacher that way, but it certainly clarified in my mind why some of my thoughts were the way they were. So I encourage you to keep meditating, and remember, meditation is simply sitting still in calmness, in contentment, seeking nothing at all, right? In fact, before you meditate, the first time you sit down, instead of you meditate working on things, sit down for the first 20 minutes and just relax, and just relax. And, and worry about all the problems with your meditation methods and skills the next 20 minutes. But for that 20 minutes, just relax and just enjoy it. And then for the next 20 minutes, throw away the instructions and just enjoy the next 20 minutes. Because that's what it's about. It's about sitting down and enjoying the quiet peacefulness, right? And simply being engaged with it, right? In the present. Anyways, namaste. Thank you very much. And we'll speak to you folks again. Thanks again. Bye-bye.